Hey guys, welcome back to another foundation road test. This one is looking at Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet. I do have a sample of this foundation because with pricier foundations I like to try before I buy. If you're not familiar with my foundation road test, I do have combination skin and it is sensitive. So that's another reason why I like to try before I buy. So if you are interested in seeing more about this Chanel foundation, just keep watching. Okay, so the Perfection Lumiere Velvet costs $50 for 1 ounce of product and comes in 9 shades. It does have SPF 15, which is octinoxate and titanium dioxide. So as usual, I'm going to read you a little bit about the foundation before we get into this. It says that Perfection has met its matte. It is lightweight and oil-free. The unique formula of this fluid foundation provides a long-lasting matte velvet finish with sheer to medium coverage. It has soft focus pigments that smooth and perfect the skin for a flawless look that lasts all day. It contains 2 types of semi-transparent powders, one to amplify luminosity, the other to create a soft focus effect. And it's supposed to have lasting, comfortable wear. I do have enough in my sample to get a few days out of it, so I'm going to use different types of applications over the next few days just to see what I like best, how it wears best, so that I can come back here and tell you guys. And let's just get straight into the application. The first day that I wore this, I applied it with my fingers. It blended in beautifully and seamlessly. You almost can't feel it even going onto the skin. It kind of gets into this powder, liquid powder format. You just can't even feel it. It doesn't feel like a lotion or a BB cream that you apply. It just disappears into the skin. It's a beautiful formulation. If I had only had one day to try this out, I would have said that this didn't work for my skin at all. I just got really oily all day long. I was oily. I had one half with my Guerlain primer, one half without, and both sides I was just oily. I would normally be showing you that first day's demo. Okay, I finished applying my makeup and I took my hair out of the clip. I am clearly not ready for work, but I wanted to go ahead and give you my initial thoughts right off the bat since it is fresh in my mind. This is one of the quickest foundations I have ever applied. I was a little apprehensive about applying it with my fingers and wasn't quite sure of the amounts to use, but I feel like it came out really well as far as evening the skin tone out. I did still have to use concealer, but I was prepared for that because it's not a medium to full coverage foundation. But I'm really happy with how my makeup looks. This is an instance where the foundation road test did not go in the normal typical way. And the reason why is because I feel like that first day's wear just didn't wear very well. I had an issue the day before where I broke out in a rash from a primer and used hydrocortisone and Benadryl all over my face the night before, and I think that that really affected the wear my first day using this foundation, and I didn't really think about that affecting how my skin would react. I've been trying this out for a good solid week. I've been able to try out different methods with different primers. I've tried using a foundation brush, using a damp beauty blender and a dry beauty blender. I've tried it with Smashbox Primer Water because it's a water-based primer. I wanted to try that. I tried it with my Guerlain Meteorites primer as well as my Hourglass Veil primer and without a primer, of course. And so I'll just go ahead and tell you my favorite way to apply it and what I found from this foundation. I do have to say that the results of the other days using this foundation were so dramatically different than that first day that it just would not have been fair to post a review with only that first day. So that's why foundation road tests with me are never going to be identical to each other because no foundation is identical. So you're always going to get a very thorough foundation road test from me. The first girl only gave me one little packet, which was only one day to try, and thankfully I was working in a different city the following day, and that wonderful lady gave me a nice full vial to try, so I have been trying it out and I still have more. I will tell you, I have B30 on now, which is what is in this vial, and my little tiny packet was B20, and I think in the winter I am better in B20, and maybe more towards the summer, I'm closer to B30. So if you are any of the foundation shades in my description box that I list, I will note that in there as well for you guys. So my favorite way to apply this primer has to be with a dry beauty blender, which was kind of surprising to me. I saw a review online a while back, and I wish I could remember who it was that did it, and I happened to just recall it, that she used to be a Chanel makeup artist, and she had said for combination oily skin that she had liked to press it into the skin with a dry beauty blender because it doesn't accentuate dry flakes. You can still do it rather quickly, just bouncing it onto the skin, just like you do with a damp beauty blender, just using it dry instead, because it doesn't dilute the product. It's still a sheer medium coverage, but you do get more of the medium coverage that way, and you don't ever accentuate dry flakes, and it just applies beautifully. And I also found that I apply this very much like I do my Double Wear and almost any other foundation I do, in sections. You know, forehead, blend, nose, then blend, then one half of the lower face and the other half onto the chin, because it does dry rather quickly. It's extremely lightweight on the skin, and I find that when I was blending it onto the skin, no matter what method I used, it blends so seamlessly and looks so much like your skin that you almost can't even see it being blended into the skin. It really is like a second skin foundation. It's absolutely beautiful. I've read where people say that if you set this with a powder, it affects the way it looks, the way it wears, then it can cake it up. I have not had that happen except when I tried to set it with the Maybelline Fit Me Pressed Translucent Powder. I've used that powder to set foundations before and it's been fine. I really do need to use a finely milled loose powder to set it, and I either dust it on or I use my normal press into the skin and then dust it away when I'm done. And it just stays looking really, really pretty on the skin. It does give a satin semi-matte finish. It's more matte when I first apply it, and I would say after maybe 3 or so hours, it goes into that satin territory. I really have never felt greasy with this foundation on my face, except for that first day, which was the odd day. Hey guys, I wanted to come on and give you an update on a regular good day with this foundation. I've been wearing this for a few days, and I feel like the wear during the day has been pretty consistent. It's now been 7 hours that I've had this foundation on, and it just gives a nice kind of satin finish as the day wears on. I've touched up twice during the day with blotting papers and translucent powder. And as you can see, as I get closer, it's just a nice kind of satin semi-matte finish, I guess. It does cover redness. I did need some concealer, but that's okay. I have really been enjoying wearing it. I just wanted you guys to see what it looked like in natural daylight and what it looked like after a few hours on a typical day. It does not settle into pores or any little fine lines that I get anywhere. I really feel like this is such a second skin foundation that if you apply it lightly enough, it will even out red tones, but it will leave you looking almost like you're not wearing any foundation. So I've reviewed Shiseido's Synchro Skin Foundation, which I also love, and have touted that as being a second skin foundation, but this I feel like is even more so. It applies even thinner than that does on the skin. I feel like this is what I've always wanted from a BB cream, but I never quite got it from a BB cream because the coverage either wasn't quite enough or it was a little bit too greasy looking or shiny looking on the skin. Now the CoverGirl Clean Matte BB cream I really do like, but it is more of a medium to full coverage, whereas this is sheer medium, but you still really can get great coverage. I have a little red birthmark right here. I don't know if you can see that. And it's really red. I don't know what that's called. If you know what that's called, let me know. But it's not a freckle because it's red. But this actually does kind of cover that in a way. Whereas some other foundations just don't really touch that. However, when I first apply it and press it in, it just puts a layer over it. And so I would say if you use the dry sponge method, you can get medium coverage from this foundation. Now, I don't think it's super long wearing, as in Estee Lauder Double Wear 12, 14, 16 hour wear. It doesn't ever really break down on me though. Even if I do have a long day, it still looks decent. I just find I have to blot more. So when I wear it, I would say I have to blot and touch up maybe every 3 to 4 hours. But even when I do, I still do not feel like I look super greasy. This was taken after about a 13-hour day, after having not touched up for about 5 hours. So you can see there's some shine going on, but it still looks nice and good and natural on the skin. And I think it looks pretty good after a long day and that many hours of not touching up. I don't know what happened to my clip of the transfer, so I'm just going to talk about it now. It did transfer onto my phone when just a little bit, not too horribly. It wasn't a greasy transfer, and that may have just been from the powder that I topped it with. There is that subtle Chanel fragrance, which has not bothered me. I thought it might, but it dissipates once it goes on the skin. At least it does to me. But if fragrance bothers you, that might be something that you want to look into. Those of you that follow me on Snapchat, I Snapchatted about it one day. I got really, really close into the camera, and you guys were snapping me back saying, oh, that looks really good on your skin. I didn't use a filter. I was just really impressed with this foundation. And I do have another Chanel foundation road test that I'll be doing, I guess maybe in a month or so, because she was nice enough to give me a sample of another one as well. So I have enjoyed wearing this foundation. I do plan on purchasing this at some point. I really, really did enjoy it, but I've got bottles of other foundation that I need to get through first before I can justify spending the money on this lovely foundation. I hope you found this foundation road test beneficial and that you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of those or more videos in general, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're not following me on my social media, I'll put those on the screen and link them in the description box. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.